Hey guys, and welcome back to the second HellfireComms Disneython. We have a doozy of a film to show you here today, and as you can probably tell by that gleeful chuckling in the background, I have none other than ex-gamer Richie with me here today. Are you excited to cover Disney's Frozen, mate?
Oh, hell yes, I am.
Oh, big fan of the movie, he is, more of which in a little bit. So, how do you sync up this movie? Well, if you check the video description, you can basically save me a lot of time and retake. So just have a little gander there and peruse it if you're confused on how to sync up our commentary to your copy of the movie. As for Richie and myself, we're going to get right on with the commentary business. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Here again. It's been a while since I've watched Disney's Frozen, and when did the movie come out exactly? Well, it came out in November of 2013, the month of my birth, a glorious month. But there was nothing more glorious than the film's financial success, which was massive to say the least. In fact, I have to bring up Wikipedia here because I got some stats for y'all. The film was a massive commercial success, and it accumulated nearly $1.3 billion in worldwide box office revenue, 400 million of which came from the United States and Canada, and 247 million of which was earned in Japan. But that's not all. It also ranks as the highest grossing animated film of all time, the third highest grossing and original film of all time, the ninth highest grossing film of all time, the highest grossing film of 2013, and the third highest grossing film in Japan, with over 18 million home media sales in 2014. It became the best-selling film of the year in the United States. By 2015, Frozen had become the all-time best-selling Blu-ray disc in the United States. Oh my god!
Yeah, it did phenomenally well. People really, really, really loved their Frozen. So much so that there is certainly a contingent of the populace of the world that got fed up with Frozen. But thankfully, I am not one of those people who got fed up with Frozen. I still very much love it.
Ah, so you learned to just let it go, then?
Well, indeed. I mean, I was, hyped for Let It Go before the film even came out. The second I found out that it was a song and I listened to it, I fell in love with it, and then just found it whenever possible and just sang it constantly.
If you would look up Richie's YouTube stats for the videos of Let It Go, he would probably be one of the major contributing factors to those videos' success. But as for me, some of you may remember this from my now deleted Tom64 Twitter account, and by the way guys, don't post anime links, it will never end up working out for you. I live tweeted me watching the film for the first time, and needless to say, I was not impressed. I hated Frozen at first. I thought it was quite cliched, a bit derivative of other better Disney princess films, and I was just a big little bitch babby at the time, I'm going to be honest with you. But I gave it another shot. I gave it the old close try, and I liked it a bit more, but I'm still kind of middling when it comes to Frozen, and you probably know this by now. I feel that Tangled's the better film, although, Richie, you describe Frozen as being more quintessential Disney, whereas Tangled is kind of a poppy, hipstery sort of film.
Yeah, so Tangled's very much more low-key in terms of its style. It's much more smaller scale. It's an excellent film, and I love it probably just as much as Frozen. But I think part of the reason why Frozen was as big as it was because it very much announced to the world that Disney was back in a big way, because it was your stereotypical Broadway-styled Disney princess musical. And so, because of that, I think that's why it resonated a bit more with people, because it was big. It had a sort of big arcing story. It had big special effects. It was big. And so it did big money.
Yeah, it was a cultural phenomenon, to say the least. You couldn't, go 5 steps anywhere without hearing someone sing Let It Go, sadly.
Indeed, and, little girls all the world over are still loving it, and I'm interested to see what happens with Frozen 2 when that comes out. They've got big things to try and do with it, for it to do as well, but we'll just have to wait and see on that point. In the meantime, Oh, young Anna and Elsa, they're so cute.
They're adorable, yeah, I'll give it that.
just hearing the sky's awake, so I must be awake, so we have to play.
Do we have any voice acting trivia while Elsa works her devil magic?
So 5-year-old Anna her speaking voice is a little girl called Livy Stubenrauch.
Uh-huh.
I have no idea who she is, but she voices young Anna. 8-year-old Elsa is voiced by Ava Bella, who has been in a few things. I mean, so she's the voice of Wendy in a film called Snowflake the White Gorilla. She's the voice of young Kaio in The Wind Rises.
Okay.
And then she's been in a few things since then. But not a whole lot, but obviously she's only 14 now, so she's not had time to really do much.
Ooh, nasty.
Yeah, you see, this is why you don't use ice powers without parental supervision.
Surely there's easier ways to dye your hair.
Well, yes, I mean, there are, but...
Look at me, Mr. Insensitive. How are they going to clean this up? Are they just going to come in and build a massive, pyre or something?
Well, I'm sure it will melt in time. It's not exactly... Is it winter at the minute?
Huh.
I'm not quite sure of what the season is at this particular moment in the film. It probably is winter because they were farming ice earlier with Frozen Heart, which is easily one of, if not the weakest song in the film.
I don't know, I kind of like it as a really dramatic and atmospheric opening to the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really nice callback to some of the Renaissance Disney films, actually. I'm particularly thinking of The Little Mermaid, because that starts with a kind of song sung by a group of men, and it sort of describes the plot of the film. And Frozen Heart essentially does that job.
Don't forget the Virginia Company from Pocahontas.
Oh yes, that too, of course. Ah, the trolls.
Bit of a divisive point, I think.
I think a bit of a divisive point is selling it lightly.
Yeah.
You either love or hate the trolls. Most people hate them.
Wasn't a fan on my first viewing. Warmed up to them slightly in the second viewing, and their song fucking sucks. So look forward to that.
I mean, the thing that I would say with most of Frozen songs is that they are all great. It's just that some of them are far better than others, and it's very much noticeable which are the weaker in the pack. Sometimes you can get a film where most of the songs sit above an average line, and they're consistently very, very good. Frozen has 2 songs, I would say, which drop below that line, whereas everything else sits above it.
Now, explain this to me. What kind of, region or nationality are we dealing with here? Because I've noticed, ice farmers, I've seen, Nordic runes and such, and obviously we have trolls here.
Yes, I mean, I believe we're pretty much dealing with Scandinavia. I mean, I think specifically it's meant to be Norway. Originally I think they were going to go with Danish, which works because obviously this is very, very loosely based on The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen, who obviously lived in Denmark, and that's where all of his fairy tales come from. But they went with Norway, I think, because of the snowy and icy nature of that region.
Oh my god. You want to talk about divisive songs? This is one for me I did not care for. Do You Want to Build a Snowman? At first I found it kind of obnoxious.
Oh, but it's so cute!
It's grown on me, for sure. But first time watching, I noticed, you said the movie was very Broadway-esque.
Yes.
There was a lot of that speak singing going on, and I found it a bit annoying.
Now you see, because I'm very much a lover of big musicals, and just musicals in general, this just does not bother me. This is normal to me. So I'm in love with it. And I really love also that with this song, you've got quite a lot of family stuff going on. because the singing voice for 5-year-old Anna is Katie Lopez, who is the daughter of Kristen Anderson Lopez, who is one of the people who worked on the songs in the film.
Nice.
And then 9-year-old Anna, here, is voiced by Agatha Lee Mon, who is the daughter of the director, Jennifer Lee. So, lots of family stuff going on here. It's just it's really lovely. And also, I'm sorry, but basically as soon as me and my sister saw the film, for weeks and weeks afterwards, like, randomly would just go, do you want to build a snowman? Because we're just massive, massive geeks like that. I mean, this being me coming up to my 20s, my sister being in her 20s, we were just like, hell yes!
Oh, jeez. Oh, God, the prequel to Tarzan was not a happy one. Yeah, let's get that out of the way, shall we?
Yeah, that fan theory.
Yeah, well, for starters, they don't even fucking look like Tarzan's mum and dad, okay?
Well, so the father sort of looks like Tarzan's father, in the sense that he's sort of a slightly thin man with slightly yellowy hair, and he's got a moustache.
Yeah.
But it's completely the wrong era. This is more maybe 16th century Scandinavia, whereas Tarzan's Victorian England. So completely the wrong eras.
Learn your history.
Yeah, and then obviously they threw The Little Mermaid into the mix by saying that the ship was the ship that Ariel found at the bottom of the ocean. It's just like, no, just stop. I mean, that's closer.
It's interesting, I'll give it that.
Yeah, that one's closer because if you're going on a boat from Norway somewhere, you're potentially going to pass Denmark, which is, I think, where Little Mermaid takes place.
Uh-huh.
And also, they're both by the same writer, because The Little Mermaid is also a tale by Hans Christian Andersen.
So, this is a cheery opening to one of the most popular films of all time. We've had, like, brainwashing to prevent mental trauma, parental deaths, abandonment, being orphaned, and now everything's happy, bright and sunny again.
Well, you see, this is the thing that Frozen does, and I think it does very well. It's very aware of Disney tropes. Also, I love this line. Love it. But yeah, so Frozen's a film that is very aware of Disney tropes, and it plays on them. So it shows you so it gives you what you expect, but then it turns certain things on its head. And it's something that I do find to be really quite awesome. I think it makes Frozen a lot deeper than a lot of people would give it credit for. Alan Tudyk as the Duke of Weselton.
Yeah, not Weaselton, Weselton.
Weselton.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously, with the Duke of Weselton, he's very obviously designed to be a villain character. He's wearing red and black.
Oh, yeah.
He's old and looks like he's just going, ooh, plotting.
Oh, Anna, what a vision. What a princessly vision.
I think the other thing that people really liked is that Anna is, while she's obviously your very stereotypical, adorable protagonist, she's still very relatable and very sort of normal in the sense that this is how most people wake up. Like, people saw that and thought, oh my god, that's me.
Yeah, I love the comparisons with other Disney movies, like in Cinderella and whatnot, where they just wake up and they're perfectly awake. No, mate, that's not how it happens. Here's my favourite song in the film.
Oh, that's totally fair. Love a bit of First Time in Forever.
Mm-hmm. Specifically the Japanese version of it, because I am one of those types of people who like to listen to multi-language versions of Disney songs for funsies, and my god, I like the English version, don't get me wrong, it's great, and this is, what is it, Kristen Stewart?
Kristen Bell.
So many Christians. But yeah, she does both the speaking and singing voice. Pretty good. I think Elsa has a better singing voice overall, but man, Anna can bat out some tunes.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. So, Kristen Bell is more well known for being an actress than she is for being in musicals.
Ah.
Like, she has been in musicals. I mean, so she made her Broadway debut as, well, actually, I think that's a play, as Becky Thatcher in The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. But she was in Reefer Madness, the movie musical, which she also played on Broadway. But the one that most people, I'd say, probably recognise her from is being Veronica Mars in that TV series.
Yeah.
That was kind of her big thing. And I think she was very surprised when she got the role of Anna, because I think she thought, but I can't really sing that well. I mean, especially in comparison to the other leading lady of the film. I think she felt quite intimidated.
Yeah, I would. Like, you would. Anyone would.
Yeah, but I think she's a far better singer than she gives herself credit for. And to be fair, I think she did a phenomenal job with Anna, because she was the one who actually instilled a lot of the adorable, relatable parts of her character. Because I think originally she was written to be quite prim and proper, and then Kristen Bell was just like, that's not the princess that I wanted as a kid.
Oh, okay.
Like, because all of the previous princesses were all the prim and proper ones, and she never found one that she truly related with, because she was always clumsy and saying the wrong thing, and so she wanted to provide that sort of Disney princess for little girls, and that is what the result of Anna was.
Okay, now here's the other type of princess. Take it away, mate.
So, the lovely Elsa here is voiced by the phenomenal Idina Menzel. Idina's she is one of Broadway's greats. Obviously playing Maureen Johnson in Rent. Obviously originating the role of Elphaba in Wicked. And
Oh, she was the original Elphaba?
Yeah, she was the original Elphaba.
Holy
she was
shit.
the original Maureen as well.
Damn.
And she also originated the role of Elizabeth in If Then, which is her most recent stage musical that she's been part of. She was also in Glee, playing the role of Shelby Corcoran.
Yeah, I did see Rapunzel and also Flynn back there, by the way.
Yes, you did indeed. And also she was Nancy in Enchanted.
Nice.
So she's done a lot, and she's just got one of the most amazing voices ever. It's amazing. I think perhaps she's maybe slightly too old to play Elsa.
Whatever.
Because obviously when she did this, she was just turning into her 40s, and she's playing a 21-year-old. So they did end up having to get her to sing a lot higher than I think she normally would, which in live performances since the film came out proved to be a little bit of a challenge, but she's amazing.
Here's the film's Prince Charming, Hans.
Mm-hmm. And he is voiced by Santino Fontana, who is another Broadway star.
Ah, there you go.
What's really quite cool, actually, is that I think he originated the role of, he was Prince Charming in, Prince Topher, as the character's called, in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella on Broadway, and I think he actually originated the role on Broadway, because before it came out in Broadway, it had existed for obviously many, many, many years, but it had never been on Broadway. So he originated the role on that, and he'd done lots of other Broadway shows as well. I mean, he originated the role of Tony in the Broadway production of Billy Elliot the Musical as well. Great musical.
I know you're staring.
Of course she's staring.
Wouldn't you? God damn. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they create an entirely new style of animation technology for, the women's dresses in this movie?
They probably did do, to be fair. I mean, they did a lot of tech work for this film, from, I think, the fabric to the snow, obviously, that's going to turn up. Film called bloody Frozen. You're gonna have snow.
I'll say this about Frozen. The film looks gorgeous normally, but for all my quibbles, once you get to, the nighttime parts of the film, and, you're dealing with snow and ice, they're different shades of blue that, clash and contrast with each other just make the film a joy to look at.
Oh, definitely. It's a lovely film in terms of its visuals, and I think this is also part of the reason why it perhaps did it did slightly better than Tangled. Well, quite a lot better than Tangled.
Well, Tangled's a very warm movie with its colours.
Yeah.
Like lots of rich greens and yellows and reds.
Yeah, but I think it's because it's a snowy film. It came out around Christmas time.
There you go. Yeah.
So, I mean, that was already a perfect storm. It came out in winter, and everyone was just like, oh my god! Christmassy film! Let's go!
If you want to get technical, it came out in autumn because it was November at the time.
Oh, come on, man. It was basically December by that point.
Yeah, that's like getting to Halloween and saying, oh, Christmas time.
Well, I mean, it was pretty much nearly December at that point because it was the end of November. It was November 27th. It was the cinematic release, well, theatrical release, I should say. Fun facts. So I saw it the day it came out.
Uh-huh.
I was still at uni, so I saw it with a bunch of my friends, and then immediately got home, and me and my sister went to go see it together.
Damn.
You see, me and my sister are massive Disney geeks.
That's fun.
So we were just like, oh my god. And also, because when I saw it, first I saw it in 2D, because none of my friends really wanted to watch it in 3D. And then me and my sister went to see it in 3D, and we were just like, oh, mostly because of the short that went before it, which was Get a Horse. That was pretty amazing in 3D.
Now, of course, just speaking of, like, film stuff and, visuals, this is not a Pixar joint, this is Disney Animation Studios, and, oh man, from, like, Tangled onwards, like, oh boy, you can't stop them. It's a runaway freight train.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say pretty much the way that it's gone is that Tangled was their sort of run-up. Like, they started with Princess and the Frog. In getting back into the swing of things, they started to hit their stride come Tangled, and then they started going full pelt from Frozen onwards, and they've yet to stop.
And I think why they've done so well is the CGI in some of their more recent stuff blurs the line between CGI and hand-drawn animation. It's just that advanced.
Well, both Pixar and Disney, in terms of animation at least, have been knocking it out of the park.
To be a royal and have to entertain creepy dukes. I do not envy Anna right now. Yeah, you toddle off, boyo. Bye-bye. So this is like, what, the first time in years that Anna and Elsa have actually been face-to-face because of Elsa's crippling social phobias due in part to her powers?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's one of those moments where it's just like, it's really lovely, because obviously despite the fact that they've been separated for so long, they are still sisters, but then you have got the awkwardness that comes in, and it's really well done, I think.
Mm.
I mean, the reason it is as well done as it is because I think during production, when they eventually settled upon having Anna and Elsa be sisters, because for the longest time, Elsa, who was obviously the Snow Queen in the story, was the villain.
Mm.
She was going to be separated and separate from everything. But then as a way of trying to make the story more interesting and more acceptable for a film anyway, they made Elsa Anna's sister, and that gave a sort of connection between the two. It sort of started to work.
I think it works better that way.
Yeah, and essentially what they did was to explore the dynamics of the relationship of sisters. Disney Animation convened a sister summit, at which women from all over the studio who grew up with sisters were asked to discuss their relationship with their sisters. I mean, it's very much like with Tangled, when they asked all of the women in the studio what their ideal man was, and then they ended up bringing that all together to create Flynn Rider. Love is an open door.
I don't really care for this one, gonna be honest. I feel it's a bit too sing-speaky.
You see, I don't care, because I mean it's fun. It's a really fun duet as well. I mean, like, rather weirdly, me and my sister sang this together. But you see, this is what you do when you're brother and sister and you like musicals. You end up having to sing duets because there's not really any brother and sister duets.
Yeah. Get on that, Disney. What the fuck are you doing?
I know, it's the one relationship, well, familial relationship, that Disney haven't actually explored yet.
Yeah.
And I really, really want them to. I mean, I love that they have now done sisters in terms of a musical film. Because obviously, the last time that Disney as a whole did sisters was Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, good point.
But they've never done it in terms of a musical before. The other thing that I really love about this song is that it's essentially every stereotypical Disney love song duet, all wrapped into one, and done in a really poppy package.
Yeah, they're kind of going to turn it on its head soon enough, you know?
Oh, exactly.
Just making a point right now.
Yeah, but it's just like, it just hammers home how Frozen is very much a film of tropes and playing around with them. Because we're only 25 minutes into the film and our princess has already found her prince and they are in love. And it's just like, it's ridiculously fast. But that's the point. That's the joke. Also, fun fact, in that song, right at the end, there's the moment where Hans goes, "Do." That was probably like very out of tune, but still. Where he sort of moves forward and his eyes sort of blink a little bit. The animator of that specific moment was, I think it was Donny Osmond's nephew.
Huh, how odd.
And he actually animated it to look like Donny Osmond.
Uh-huh.
And it was really sweet because obviously Donny Osmond worked with Disney on Mulan because he was the singing voice of General Li Shang. And there are actually quite a few people at the studio who remembered working with him.
Uh-huh.
And I think there was at least one person who said, just change one little bit about that bit of animation so that it's not so obviously Donny Osmond.
Yeah.
But you can keep it in because it's a nice little touch.
Now, you see, this is classic Disney and modern Disney clashing right now in terms of sensibilities. Like, Anna's like, I want to get married now. I've known him all of today, and I love him with all of my heart. And Elsa's like, bitch, please. You've known him all of one day.
Which is part of that whole thing of, it's Disney taking the piss out of themselves in a way.
I love that, yeah.
Which I think is why I appreciate this film as much as I do. Because it's so aware of what it's doing.
Because you can still have, like, the classic princess tropes, but you can twist them a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's got a sting. Ice burn. But you can still have the classical, you know, Disney stuff if you're willing to take the piss out of yourself. You can play it straight and have your cake and eat it as well. Jesus. Couldn't have gone for anything less sharp, Elsa.
I know, but then again, to be fair, she's not really in control of her powers.
Where did her powers come from anyway? Was she just born with them?
So it is from birth, because at the start of the film, when the king and the queen take her and Anna to the trolls, Grandpappy asks, was she born with the powers or cursed? And the king answers, born with them. But obviously we don't know where they came from.
I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say they come from the mother's side of the family.
Probably. But we don't know. Now, so this is part of the confusion with the change from the original story of the Snow Queen to the story of Frozen. Because in that, it's sort of a bit clearer where the Snow Queen, well, not necessarily the Snow Queen's power comes from, but the fact that she is evil or villainous in it, or not really necessarily entirely villainous, just a very separate entity. Because there's this magic mirror that distorts the appearance of everything it reflects. So good and beautiful aspects of people are diminished, not reflected at all, but their bad and ugly aspects are. And there's little boy called Kay who gets struck by a shard from this glass, and he ends up going to the Snow Queen, and a girl called Gerda, who's his bestie, goes to try and rescue him. And that's basically how the arc of the plot goes. But...
Jesus, maybe keep the safety up next time, Elsa.
Yeah, but she's not in control, as I said.
I guess so.
And also, I mean, considering, wouldn't you be just absolutely emotionally distraught, having just been chased away from your coronation by the people who you thought cared about you? And also being called a monster, the very thing that she didn't want to be?
Oh, who cares? You're a fucking weasel. Ah, the adventure begins.
It is nice to see a Disney heroine going, I cocked up, I'm gonna fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Because quite a few of the other Disney princesses, Ariel, basically rely on other people to solve their messes. So it's nice to see a Disney princess going, yeah, hold my hands up, I screwed up, I'm gonna fix it.
I don't think that's entirely fair, because Ariel was dealing with, like, a sea witch. She's not really on the same level, power-wise.
True. But I think we need to just sit down and just admire the gloriousness of what is about to happen.
Ah, Mount Crumpet. Sorry.
Oh, let it go. If there's a song that is Frozen, it's this one.
I can forget the lyrics entirely, and the second the song kicks up and Elsa starts singing, boom, they're all there, back in the forefront of my mind. That's the marking of a catchy song, I think.
Yes, I mean, it's great. I mean, I think there are people who have complained that it is basically Defying Gravity, but not as good. And well, that's fair. Not much can live up to Defying Gravity, but I think that it's still a very good and enjoyable song, and it speaks to people. And the fact that it does speak to people does a lot, really. If it speaks to people and makes them feel better, then it's done its job.
I like it, for sure, but I can agree with some points people bring up, like, it's a bit poppy in terms of composition, like the instruments she used for the backing music and so on, and maybe, like, Elsa's voice gets a bit too shrill sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, part of that is because they're getting Idina Menzel to sing in
yeah.
a pitch that's not quite, well, a key that's not quite suited to a voice anymore. But the main thing I would agree on is the instruments, because before the full song came out, they actually revealed it at the World of Colour thing that Disneyland do. It's like a big event that they do every night with fountains, and it's magical. But they had a different instrumentation on it, and it was much more orchestral. It had much more instruments. It was very complex, and it was just stunning and magical. And I was just like, oh my god, this is beautiful. But then when the actual song got revealed as to what it was just like, this instrumentation's slightly disappointing.
It sounds a little bit cheap, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I see what they were doing with it, because at the start they didn't want to overdo it. They felt they needed to be, like, nice and calm, and then build. But I think that they would have been better going with the more orchestral sound, because I think it was, like, the grander orchestral sound, because I think it gave it a magic that just elevated it even further beyond what it already is.
How long did they spend, like, examining how icicles and whatnot form? Because this is amazing.
I know, it's a feat of animation. It really is.
Well, speaking of animation, pay close attention to Elsa's hair in relation to her arm in just a second. Clips right through her arm.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that happened is because they couldn't get it to just flip over for some reason, because the model kept breaking. So they had to go with that split second to just get it to work.
Only uber nerds like us will notice that anyway. The little girls watching in the audience, they don't care.
No, but all this.
Trailer shot. So yeah, good song. I hate to use the term overrated, because I think in and of itself that term is overrated.
Yes.
But I still love For the First Time in Forever a lot more.
I mean, I think the problem that Let It Go had was that it was played to such an extent...
Oversaturation.
Yeah, that people got fed up of it. Like, it's still a very good and very excellent song, but I think it was just played so much more so than think I've ever heard a song played before. It was insane. I mean, obviously, it got on to the charts and stayed there for a very long time. And the thing I love about that is that it was the actual film's version of the song, rather than the pop version done by Demi Lovato that ended up in the charts.
That one's okay too, but I prefer the movie version.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the first time that's ever happened, because most of the times it's been the pop version that's ended up in the charts. But no, this was the first time that a very Broadway-styled song ended up in the top charts.
So I just love the Anna sickle.
Oh, it's great. Also, she is every single one of us going, oh, gold, 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 gold. Ah, Oaken.
You're a big fan of this guy, then?
Ah, Oaken's great. He's cheesy and ridiculous, but you can't help but love him.
There's a lot of good comedy in this part of the movie.
Oh, there is indeed. Now, Oaken is voiced by Chris Williams, who did the story of Emperor's New Groove.
Nice.
He was the co-director on Bolt. He was one of the story artists on Frozen, as well as voicing Oaken. He was co-director of Big Hero 6.
Nice.
And he's also the co-director of Moana.
Damn, man, he has got some credentials.
Obviously, by the point this comes out, Moana will be out, and hopefully it's good. But we shall see what happens. Apparently, he's also going to be a director on a film called King of the Elves, which is going to be coming out.
Was that Disney, or...?
Yes, it seems so. Although, actually, no. Okay, so here we go. So it was originally going to come out in 2012, but about a year into the effort of making it happen, he decided that it was not the film he wanted to make and left the project, so I think it's pretty much died.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, first instance of a gay couple in a Disney film?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Which, I mean, I do like that they did that, and it wasn't... It's a joke, obviously, but it's just a very small little thing. It's not a big... Oh my god, they're gay. It's just a small little thing that they just pop in there. Just makes it normal.
Aw, no carrots. Oh god, a snowbound lodge. Awesome. Well, not even a lodge, a shed.
Also, I love that we have a Disney princess who knows what to do with money.
Yeah. Nice for a change.
Uh-huh. So, Kristoff here is voiced by Jonathan Groff, who is another star of Broadway. So he rose to prominence in the lead role of Melchior Gabor in the original Broadway production of Spring Awakening, for which he was nominated for the Tony Award for Best Actor. He returned to Broadway in 2015 to play the role of King George III in Hamilton, for which he also earned a Tony nomination for Best Featured Actor. And he's then been in a whole bunch of TV and other roles, but he has obviously been in quite a lot of theatre, and that's what he's mostly known for.
Very star-studded Broadway cast, but then again, I guess that's the thing they were going for.
Well, exactly. The thing that I find particularly hilarious is that Robert Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez, the husband and wife duo that wrote all the songs for the film, kind of got through all the main songs and got to the end and thought, oh, we never wrote a song for Jonathan Groff. Crap.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's an excellent singer. And they were just like, oh, that was a silly thing to do.
Yeah, if you're going to hire a Broadway singer, let them sing something.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that there's ultimately not really space in the film for a big Kristoff number. Fair enough. But Robert Lopez did end up writing a joke song, which was Reindeers Are Better Than People, which I think was originally intended to play during the credits, and it was just going to be this ridiculous joke song. But then I think they actually ended up just obviously using that little bit for in the film, because they thought, well, it's too good to waste and it'd be nice to give Jonathan Groff something to do.
Some anvils need to be dropped, I believe is the phrase.
Uh-huh.
No, they died in a shipwreck.
Oh, they got in a size doesn't matter joke.
Uh-huh. Am I reading into stuff, or did Anna, literally take on Elsa's prior, coloration in terms of clothes?
She has indeed.
Yeah.
Which, it's a nice touch, I think. Her winter apparel very much reflects Elsa's original clothes.
Yeah.
It's something that you may not necessarily notice to begin with, but then you're just like, that's smart.
Right down to the colour of the gloves, actually. Better keep moving, Chris. Oh god, yeah, time to start running. Or sledding, I guess. Running probably wouldn't help in this regard. Getting a little bit of a Beauty and the Beast action here. Running away from wolves in a snowy forest.
Uh-huh.
Another Disney princess movie, of course. Yeah, what kind of fucking Scandinavian name is Christopher?
I know. And also, God, Anna is a nutjob.
It's fine, we'll be able to jump that, no problem.
Yeah.
Darn it, we can't fly! Oh, if only we'd been born as wolf birds. Anna, help! There you go.
Anna really is crazy, because that could have just gone, wow!
Well, she was pulling that body up one way or another, I guess.
That's very true, yes. I mean, I think it's this point of the film where you can really tell that it is very modern in terms of its style.
How so?
Well, just the way the characters talk, it's that very fast-paced, very snappy dialogue.
Uh,
There's certain things that they say which you wouldn't have never heard in things before, like, oh, I just paid it off.
yeah.
Things like that, but it works.
Yeah, it goes far enough without becoming 100% Whedon stuff, you know? Yeah, he's not the protagonist of this story.
No, he definitely isn't. But then, to be fair, that's nice. Because I think this is... Well, I say that's nice. The Disney Prince characters have hardly ever been the leads in their stories.
Yeah, well, he's not a prince, that's for sure.
Yeah, but it's just nice that the focus is on the sisters rather than anybody else. I have to say, Elsa got quite a distance away.
Yeah, she was booking it.
I know she was only running for the night, but she managed to make it up to the mountain. And here it's going to take them like a couple of days.
Oh man, that tech putting in work right now.
Oh, I know. Now, if I look at the technology department bit,
Uh-huh.
so they developed several new tools to generate realistic and believable shots, particularly the heavy and deep snow and its interaction with the characters. And they also wanted an all-encompassing and organic tool to provide snow effects, but not require switching between different methods. And so they ended up working on this very special thing. I think it was called... I can't remember what the damn engine was called. Damn it.
Snowy engine.
It was something like Avalanche or something to that effect. But it did an amazing job, and Olaf!
Yeah.
Yeah, the comedic relief character of the film.
Like, wasn't there like 3 or so already? Because you have Kristoff and
Sven.
Sven. Sorry, I always forget the reindeer's name. I guess Olaf is another divisive point, along with the trolls and whatnot.
Yeah, but the thing is that I can't hate Olaf. He's just too cute. And funny.
He's fairly cute. Funny, he has his moments for sure.
I mean, the thing that I really like is that Olaf is your stereotypical comic relief character, but he actually ends up being the heart of the film. Despite the fact that, he's a snowman.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I guess there's a certain amount of heart there within his frozen exterior.
Yeah, and the thing that I also love is that he's voiced by Josh Gad, who is another person who has done quite a bit of Broadway. Probably more so done TV and comedy films, but he originated the role of Elder Cunningham in the Broadway musical The Book of Mormon, which was also, the music for that was written by a certain Robert Lopez.
Okay.
Who obviously then made Frozen.
Of course.
So that was actually really quite cool because I think in some sort of celebration of the music of Frozen, Robert Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez talked about the creation of the songs, and obviously because Robert had also already worked with Josh Gad, he already knew exactly what he was capable of doing, and I think in doing the demo for In Somewhere Here, he actually did a Josh Gad impression. It's on point. It's brilliant.
I think this is tied with the Troll song for my least favourite in the movie.
No, you see, I quite like it. Just because, I like Josh Gad's singing voice. It's quite fun.
I don't know, it just seems a bit indulgent and out of nowhere.
Yeah, but then it's got an awesome Mary Poppins reference. And also, it shows the idealism of Olaf. Also, here's your Mary Poppins reference.
There you go.
But it's just cute and ridiculous.
Naive, I'd say.
It's entirely naive, and also this.
Yeah, let's just skip over that.
It's just so it's so idealistic. It's so ridiculous. But that's the point, because it's just like, we've got a walking, talking snowman here. This does not make sense. So let's just take the piss out of it. Also, fun thing to note, in this sequence, it is the only time that you'll ever see Olaf's twig arms bend. Everywhere else, they stay solid. But in that sequence, they actually bend.
Okay.
Just a very small touch.
So how powerful is Elsa to be able to create life? Like, what level of mutant are we dealing with here?
A very ridiculously powerful mutant.
Like, between, say, Jubilee and Magneto, what is the level?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't follow the X-Men.
You know that little argument that took place there about which way the wood goes up? I think that is actually a long-standing debate.
Yeah.
By people in the region, or something to that effect. I know that somewhere along the line, it is definitely a major debate.
Okay, so a regional in-joke. It's not for us limers. So I guess this is why the film is called Frozen, like...
Because everything is frozen.
Yeah, well, duh. But Elsa running away is what caused this.
Yes.
I know this somehow. I will go and find her.
Well, he knows this because her horse has returned without her. It's kind of a big tell.
Well, you know, she could have just sent him back. You know, walk the last part of the journey home, you don't know.
It's true. This place just looks cool.
Great joke from Olaf coming up soon, by the way.
Oh, hell yes.
Ooh, nasty. Just the way he says it. It's like, yeah, whatever.
It's just perfect. Now, if I recall correctly, I think that actually quite a lot of Josh Gad's dialogue as Olaf was improvised.
Yeah.
To some degree. And you can tell it.
Yeah.
But it works. Also, I think this is quite a good joke.
Oh, you're trying, Anna. You're trying. You should really, like, go back and get some climbing equipment, Anna. You're not climbing up a frozen rock face with, like, gloves and whatnot.
No.
Not to mention heeled boots. You know, when it's funny, Frozen is a funny movie. I'll give it that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, main thing that I would say about it is that it's permanently enjoyable. Like, it remains at a level of being fun throughout pretty much the entire thing.
Oh.
And even if you would debate the overall quality of the thing, you can't deny that it does give you a smile and does give you a warm, fuzzy feeling in your heart most of the time.
Well, what if you hate Disney princess movies?
Well, then you lack a heart.
Okay.
You are a heartless. Either that or you're a nobody.
Well, we're on the subject now, so Frozen in Kingdom Hearts 3, yes or nay?
Yes! 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 Please, for the love of God!
Well, we had Tangled in there, we've got Big Hero 6. You seen a pattern here?
Yeah, it's like, I think they would be daft not to have Frozen in there. It's like, if they want to... I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to sell anyway, but if they really want it to sell, get Frozen in there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that'll just make it go boom! And it'll also make me a very happy bunny.
Yeah, probably don't want that to happen again. Frozen, once we can deal with. Double Frozen, no mate, no.
I mean, one of the things that I also really like about Frozen is that essentially for the first half hour or 40 minutes or so of the film, it's basically wall-to-wall musical.
Yeah.
And, like, I love that. I know a lot of people aren't necessarily keen on that type of thing, but it's something that I really enjoy. The only thing that disappoints me is that pretty much after this point, the singing kind of disappears, which is fair enough because we're about to go slightly more serious in the plot. But I just want a little bit more.
On that note, I think I prefer the first half of the movie overall, honestly. I don't know. I wish they'd spent a little bit more time in the town.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the problem that they ended up with is that I think it was 17 months before the movie was meant to go out. The original script was just jacked. It's before Jennifer Lee was brought on board after her success with Wreck-It Ralph. And then Jennifer Lee was brought on after the whole script had imploded. And so they started over from scratch, and they had 17 months to get the film out.
Jesus.
So that is a ridiculously tight turnaround for such a film.
Yeah.
So I think, considering the turnaround that it had, and the fact that The Snow Queen as a story has had a very, very long time in the oven at Disney, because, like, it was one of the stories that Walt Disney wanted to do.
Wow.
And he tried to make it, but could never get it to work. So ever since 1937, he wanted to do The Snow Queen, but never managed it. And they tried to make it again in the late 1990s, but couldn't manage it. Then they started again in 2008, but didn't quite manage it then. And eventually when Jennifer Lee came on, but I love this reprise of First Time in Forever.
It's pretty good, but again, I prefer it in, like, another language, honestly.
That's fair enough. But I think the thing that I really like about this is that it's a nice turn on the duet. I mean, originally, in the sequence, there was going to be a song called Life's Too Short.
Uh-huh.
Which is a great catchy little duet tune that, but the problem with it was that it was maybe a bit too much from a bit of an angry drama place.
Uh-huh.
And it also is very heavily rooted in the original plot of the film where Elsa was part of a prophecy and she was actually evil and...
Oh, I think I've listened to that, actually.
Yeah. It's a really good song, and they actually used a bit of it in the start of Making Today a Special Day from Frozen Fever.
If ever I deliver bad news, I want to do it in the form of a song.
Well, it's just perfect. Also, I love this bit. Absolutely love it, because you can see as Elsa gets more and more worked up, the snow begins to swirl. It starts slowly, and then it's going to get faster and faster and faster.
This part of the song I love the most.
It's lovely. I can't control the curse.
Just the dueling voices is pretty great.
It's great. It's an awesome duet to do.
I think Adina is kicking the crap out of Kristen Bell in terms of the vocals in this song. I'll tell you that much.
It's because Adina's got a very powerful belt. I mean, her belt is what she's known for. And that's totally fair because she's got a stonker of a belt on her.
Oh, Elsa.
I know.
Twice in one lifetime.
And the thing is that she's done the one thing that she didn't want to do. She was trying to tell Anna to go because she didn't want to hurt her, and she's ended up hurting her. And I think this is one of the things that people appreciated, is that Elsa... So, one of the problems that the film does have is that it doesn't spend near enough time on Elsa. It spends too much time with Anna. But they change Elsa from being a villain, as she was originally intended to be, to being a pretty emotionally complex character, where she ends up doing things that could be classified as being villainous, but she's doing it out of a place of love and fear, because she's scared of hurting people, so she locks herself away, but then she can't help but hurt people.
Well, there's the whole like discussion of like what mental illnesses does Elsa suffer from. You know, you obviously got like deep-rooted anxiety there. Depression is probably a factor.
And it's something that I think is quite important to do in these types of films.
Yeah, speaking just in terms of like Elsa's screen time, I think if you removed Kristoff and Sven and just focused on like Anna and like introduce the snowman dude at an earlier point, I feel that might have been better. You could have like a bit of a buddy movie on the run up to Elsa.
Perhaps, but then I think the character of Kristoff is needed because he is essentially the counterpoint to Hans.
I guess.
And also, I mean, this is the first Disney film where we've ever had two eligible bachelors as love interests, basically. Which is, it's another one of those turning things on their head, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing, obviously, is that we've had the Anna getting to Elton. You would have thought, it's all going to be resolved here. That's the Disney way. And then it doesn't happen. And also, I love the fact that the big snowman here is called Marshmallow.
Aww.
Because originally it was envisioned that Marshmallow was going to... Well, Marshmallow and Olaf are obviously brothers.
Uh-huh.
But I think they were originally going to make more of that. And I think originally they were going to call him Marshmallow in the film, but it never happened.
Aww.
But, yeah, it was quite a cute little thing.
Oh, this is bad.
Also, I never noticed. So there are certain lines that do get repeated throughout the film, like a little motif. And wait, what is one of them? I never noticed that it turned up there as well.
Oh, I laugh. He doesn't love you, Olaf. He just loves your nose.
And yeah, we've only got one song left.
Jesus, and it's the worst one of the bunch.
Yeah, it's the one nobody likes. Which is just like, why? I mean, it's fine because it's a fun song. It's just it's the weakest of the bunch. Well, obviously, Let It Go is the song everyone knows, everyone remembers, and it's rightly so because it's the song of the film. And I mean, I have to say, sung it more than a few times. I mean, when I did my Cinderella pantomime, which I wrote and was in, I actually ended up singing Let It Go. That was the big Act 1 closer that I did as Buttons. It was great. That's actually up on YouTube if people want to watch it.
I'll get round to that sometime.
Yeah, if you want just the short version, it's on my channel. Is that the me singing Let It Go? That was a Christmassy thing.
Exclaimer Richie returns.
Yes. That's my plug for the time being.
Look at all the red and whatnot.
And note, obviously, when Elsa was being told by Grandpappy about her powers, the colour that was used to signify the danger was red.
Well,
I mean, obviously,
yeah,
it's a standard use of the colour, but obviously it gets used there quite nicely. And also, notice Olaf going, "The sky's awake, so I must be awake."
Aww.
It just goes to show that Olaf was made by Elsa and Anna when they were kids.
Yeah.
So he's instilled with a lot of that childlike wonder. And I suppose in a way that leads to his naivete. Because he's essentially a child.
Yeah. Also notice Anna's hair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's slowly changing.
Yeah, it's a point that we sort of ended up skipping over, but obviously because she got struck in the heart, her hair slowly but surely turning white as she begins to freeze.
Oh, the first song in the movie prophesizes this, because what's the name of the first song of the film?
Beware the frozen heart.
Yeah, exactly. Nice harmonising there, by the way. I'll make sure to edit that so it's perfect. Just came back to see how the fam's doing. Oh. Oh, here we go.
Here they come.
Who's ready for some whimsy?
So, the main female troll that we've got here is called Bulda.
Uh-huh.
She's the one who basically took in Kristoff as a kid, and she's voiced by Maya Wilson. Don't know what she does, but yeah, she's the only one of the only named trolls.
Oh, you were going to skip over that kidney stone joke back there. What the fuck?
There are a few of those in this sequence.
Oh boy, this is the Hans situation all over again.
And here it comes.
No, I will pay you money to skip over this bit.
With Fixer Upper,
Yes.
it's easily the weakest song in the film, obviously, but you can't deny that it is kind of fun and a little bit catchy.
Oh, bad songs can be catchy. I wouldn't really say it's bad, but it's definitely annoying.
Yeah. I mean, so, it's one of the things, like, I can enjoy it. It's easily the weakest fit song in the film. It's not a great song, but it does make me smile ever so slightly, because it does actually sort of get to the heart of the issue, because it points out everything that's wrong with the person, and yet saying still, you can love people for their flaws. And also because, so, one of the points of Frozen is it deals with all the different types of love.
Uh-huh.
Because you've got sisterly love, you've got just general familial love, you've got you've got lustful love, you've got actual romantic love, and you've got all these different types of love interacting with one another. And it's a nice touch. Oh, that blank.
Trolls don't care. How can we work around these loopholes?
I just love this line. Just about the ring. It's just like...
I forgot that completely.
I know. It's full of small little jokes that do just hit home. Now, fun fact. So, originally, there was going to be a part of this film where I think there was going to be a troll that was going to say a few lines.
Uh-huh.
And in the UK release, that troll was going to be Jack Whitehall.
Huh.
And he recorded his lines, but then the bit got cut. So even though he's in the credits for the film, because like I remember seeing him, well, when I went to the cinema, I remember seeing him thinking, oh, that's that. I didn't notice him at all. It's because he doesn't actually appear in the film despite being in the credits, because they cut the bit. Because, I mean, to be fair, I think they realised they don't want this to last longer than it does.
I'll say this about the song. I like the middle part of the movie where the female troll is singing to Anna. I think that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
nice climax as well, pretty funny.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not a great song, but it does just enough to be enjoyable, I feel.
It's at very least enthusiastic, so it cuts through my cynical frozen heart and, warms it up slightly.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I find the most frustrating is that it is the final song in the film. I feel it would have been nice to have one more song.
A reprise of Let It Go at the end would have been perfect.
Well, you say that, I think that... So there's one moment that I think a lot of people agree would be the ideal moment for a reprise of Do You Want to Build a Snowman? And it's perfect for it.
Oh, well, you could probably get like a remix of, Let It Go and Do You Want to Build a Snowman in there.
Yeah. But obviously they didn't go for that. I totally appreciate that decision because I think what they do is also just as effective. I think it is just a shame that Fixer Upper is the last song in the film.
And we didn't actually go into the implications of what Let It Go actually means, but I guess since we're back at the castle, we can do so now. Let It Go, from Elsa's point of view in the song, is that she's letting go of the fears and whatnot that have bound her to her anxieties and problems and such, but she's also letting go of her responsibilities, which is the negative side of that line of thought.
Yeah, I mean, the really interesting thing about the song is that it really was the turning point in the development of the film, because before then, Elsa was very much the villain, but then the Lopez's created Let It Go. I think there's a lovely anecdote of them singing about Central Park or something, trying to just doing the motions as they were kind of going through the development of trying to come up with it. And it made them think of Elsa in a different light. And from that point onwards, they began to think of her much more sympathetically. And that's when she became the character that she ultimately is, because they thought, well, this actually makes her a more interesting character and also much more relatable, because the actual Snow Queen of the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale is very detached.
Yeah.
She's very inhuman, really. And that doesn't necessarily translate well to film, especially not a Disney film, which is so bound to character.
It's very personality driven.
Exactly. So you struggle with someone who is not, well, like a blank slate almost. You need something to go on. And so I think what ended up happening to Elsa as a character is certainly for the best. Also, I don't know why he didn't, run to the sides.
Well, not the heat at the moment, but the moment, I guess. You don't think of these things. Well, this is fairly incriminating. Probably should have done this.
Yeah.
Also, how does your dress work? Is it just ice?
It's magic.
Okay. I love the meme of this. Yeah, not so happy with the fucking frozen chandelier now, are you, Elsa?
Yeah, but when she built it, she didn't exactly plan for someone to shoot a crossbow into it.
Very true, very true.
Now, another fun fact about deleted songs is that, so obviously there was originally going to be Life's Too Short, which was sung when Elsa froze Anna's heart, but there was going to be a reprise of it, which was going to take place around this time. It's going to take place a little bit later when a few things have happened. But it was a much sadder, slower reprise that actually did use bits musically of Do You Want to Build a Snowman? Which I think it was a lovely little song, a lovely little duet that really hammered home what they understood after what they've been through.
Is that available to listen to?
Yeah, it's on the extended soundtrack of Frozen.
I'm checking that out once we're done, because that sounds awesome, actually.
Well, I mean, they're actually... So on the extended soundtrack, you got the songs that are actually in the film, you got the entire score, or most of the score, and you also got a whole bunch of demos.
Uh-huh.
So you got Life's Too Short and its reprise. You also got More Than a Spare, which was originally Anna's introductory song, because there was this whole thing to do with the heir and the spare. So Elsa was the heir, Anna was the spare, and dealing with that. There's also a song which was something like the festival, or it was some sort of kids' play which told the prophecy, essentially.
The prophecy.
And there was another song which Elsa and Anna sang as kids, which is really adorable, and it's got like all this clapping in it. I can't remember what the name of the song is, but that was quite cute as well. So quite a few of the deleted songs are really enjoyable. You can tell why most of them got deleted, or cut, but they're very interesting to listen to, especially considering on the soundtrack you do actually get a little bit at the start from Bobby Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez.
Nice.
Of what happened with it.
Oh man, Anna's not doing so well right now.
Well, I mean, Elsa froze her heart. She's kind of dying right now.
Jesus. So let's change tack completely and talk about Frozen Fever.
I quite enjoy Frozen Fever.
I think I've watched it. I honestly can't remember. What I do remember is Elsa being fucking drunk.
Well, no, she has a cold in it. She's ill.
Well, the joke is that she's kind of acting drunk-ish.
Well, yeah, it seems like she's drunk, but she's ill.
Yeah.
And you can seem a little bit out of it when you're ill. But, I mean, basically it's just one big song, which is Making Today a Perfect Day. Which is a lovely, catchy tune, very happy, gives Jonathan Groff a bit more to do, is also just really funny and cute, and also uses a little bit of Life's Too Short at the start of it.
Nice.
Because it begins with, "You've never had a real birthday before, except, of course, the one you spent outside my locked door," which is, that tune is the thing. But also, important moment. Hans, you bastard! Did you see this coming, Tom?
Yes, because I was spoiled on the fact that Hans was quote-unquote evil before I actually watched the film for the first time.
Yeah, no, see, obviously I saw it on opening night, so I was completely unaware, and it came up, and then I was just like, oh my god, you clever dicks. It is quite obvious. It's relatively well forecast, because he's not really done much. He's a bit of a crap villain on the whole.
He's awful, honestly. He's really bad.
Yeah, but I really like the fact that they went against trope, because normally the villains are a big deal, they have a big villain song, and they're very obviously the villain, but Hans is duplicitous and portrays himself as being the prince.
Yep.
And then just pulls the rug out from beneath everyone. And there are a few tells beforehand, because if you listen and notice very carefully in Love is an Open Door, when he sings "To Find My Own Place," he gestures to Arendelle, basically showing, this is what I want. I want this.
Okay.
You can also notice in the way that he interacts with people, he mirrors them in a way. So whenever he's dealing with Anna initially, he's very happy-go-lucky, he's very awkward. But when he deals with Elsa, he's very regal, cold, very to the point. So there's all of that. And there's also the gloves thing. Like, there's a whole thing with gloves in the film, where people wearing gloves are hiding something to some degree. Because obviously Duke of Weston's wearing gloves, Hans is wearing gloves, but the one moment where he shows his true self, he removes one of his gloves.
Okay.
And it's the same with Elsa, because obviously the second that she removes her gloves, her ice powers come to the fore.
I don't know, I don't think the movie needed a villain, to be honest. I feel like nature itself was the villain in this movie, and also Elsa to a certain degree, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think that perhaps they would have been better suited going with having Elsa as an unwilling villain, but I think that it's an interesting way to go with the whole narrative, because it is so very just playing on tropes. It's something I really do find fascinating. Because it's just another trope that they are playing around with. Because we've had the falling in love within 5 seconds, but then we've had a Disney villain singing a Disney love duet with the Disney princess. That was the first time that's ever happened. And it's only at the end of the film that you realise that it's a thing. And it's quite just a nice play on things.
Get your ass back to Arendelle, come on now.
Indeed, because Kristoff, you love Anna, despite the fact, only knowing her for 3 days, but that's better than 24 hours.
Mixed messages. Also, answer me this. Are, Elsa and Anna Rapunzel's cousins?
So, I believe the answer's yes.
Uh-huh.
Pretty much what is the agreed thing is that the king and queen were going to Rapunzel and Flynn's wedding. And obviously on the way there, because in Tangled, the kingdom of Arendelle is mentioned.
Uh-huh.
And I believe it's mentioned in relation to, they have lovely summers there.
Yep.
Which it's a tiny little thing. So obviously there isn't the implication that they are linked in some form. Obviously then the fact of Rapunzel post-Tangled.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, with the short hair, yeah.
Yeah, and Eugene Fitzherbert turn up shows that there must be some link between them, and the general assumption is they are probably cousins.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that. It's not really a big thing canon-wise, but there you go.
Yeah, it's just a small, fun little Easter egg. Also, I really like this scene. It's lovely, it's cheesy, it's ridiculous. Because ultimately, Olaf is based on another classic Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale.
Uh-huh.
Which I can't remember exactly what the name of it is, which is really annoying me. But it's it's the snowman who loves warm and heat. If just bear with me a second, I might be able to find the name of the damn thing.
Oh, you're melting, Olaf. You might want to step away from the flames while you make this big old speech.
Yeah, it would probably be a good idea.
Oh, that was cute, though. Some people are worth melting for. Do you really want to melt in front of your, co-creator? Give her nightmares if she actually survives this frozen art business.
Oh yes, so the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale on which Olaf is based is called The Snowman. And it's about a snowman who falls in love with the stove.
Not to be confused with the cartoon of the same name, in which the snowman comes to life and him and the kid have magical adventures.
Indeed.
Oh, Elsa, you just can't stop hurting Anna, can you?
To be fair, she's not really doing any of this. This is just the ice taking control itself.
So really, the true villain is nature.
Pretty much, yeah.
Whew, actually getting chills right now.
Uh-huh. Now, I believe the song during this sequence is called Whiteout. Very fitting, actually.
Oh, yeah.
But it is just it's a great moment, sequence. Because, you can hardly see anything. The snow's just going everywhere. And it does really feel like there are stakes involved here. Because time is running out for Anna. Obviously, Arendelle is very soon just going to be completely covered in snow and ice, and pretty much everyone is probably going to die of frostbite and hypothermia.
If some haven't already.
Yeah.
Definitely the older people, for sure.
Yeah. So, it's a very climactic end to the film, which I do think is really effective.
I'll agree there. Like, for all my faults with the movie, I think the climax is pretty good.
Oh, definitely.
This frozen ship graveyard, for lack of a better term, is pretty rad. Yeah, mind the ship doesn't fall on you, Anna.
I mean, that would be a very bad end to this.
Oh, Jesus. Frostbite.
Well, it's not necessarily frostbite, she's literally freezing from the inside out, which is horrifying.
Oh, this is cool.
This is amazing. I mean, this in 3D is pretty damn spectacular. Which reminds me, I really need to make use of my new 3D telly.
Uh-huh. Showing off there with the swag tech and whatnot.
I got a new job and just moved into a new room. I wanted a new telly.
You work hard, mate. You deserve it. It's okay. He's got fur. He'll survive.
He will indeed.
You're the naked white ape with no fur. Get a move on.
I have to say, that moment, I was like, I remember just going, "Oh, Sven!"
I thought you were going to say Artax for a moment.
I mean, it is essentially, it's another of those tropes of the animal friend in a climactic thing ends up dying tragically because to get the people to the goal. Ooh, Hans, you dick.
I wouldn't really say taunting the cryokinetics is a good idea right now.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, did actually stop the storm, but I suppose that's more because it was a build-up of emotion, and then she hears that news, and she just goes numb. Which is why all of the snowflakes are obviously frozen in the air.
Oh, wow, I never noticed that before.
Yeah, she's literally... I suppose it's because she's literally feeling empty inside right now. There's no emotion there. And I think this is a particularly well-done moment.
Choose between love or your sister, and the sister wins.
Well, it's choose between love and love.
Damn. That's some hard-ass ice.
Uh-huh. And that's a very, very mature touch for Disney. Like, her last breath literally just expires. And I do think this is a particularly well done moment, because notice silence other than Elsa sobbing.
Sven, you're not needed here. Get out of the show.
So yeah, this is the point where I think most people agree that a reprise of Do You Want to Build a Snowman would have been particularly effective. But then I do feel that part of the magic of this scene is the fact that there is silence for just a few moments.
Yeah, I agree with that too, yeah.
I mean, it goes against type, because normally in this sort of sequence you would get a rousing, well, a really sad piece of music that would kind of be just like, you make you want to cry, but no, there's silence. And it's just like, it just hits you. Oh! And this just makes me really happy and smiley.
Oh, you big softy.
I know. And it is part of the reason why I think that Maleficent was so crap. Because basically it does the same type of thing. It comes to the same conclusion. But then it's just like, you do know that Frozen did this, like, last year and did it better than you? I love this song. I believe it's called, Vueli. It's a reprise of Vueli, because the song right at the start of the film is called Vueli, featuring Cantus.
Uh-huh.
And then I think this is actually The Great Thor, but it features a reprise of Vueli, which is just lovely.
So she finally mastered her powers. Good stuff.
Uh-huh. It's all about love.
Oh, well, been nice knowing you, Olaf. So, how does that work then? Is he... You know what, I'm not even going to try and go to the side to the magical talking snowman, it's fine.
Just go with it's magic. I think the bigger question is, where the hell did the ship appear from, and where the hell was Hans in relation to the whole scene? Because he ended up behind a thing of ice sticking up, but then he disappeared, but then he reappeared again.
He got knocked the fuck out, it don't matter.
Yeah, I'm just so happy with that. It's just perfect.
So I guess we're coming to the end of the film now, mate. We're not quite there, but we may as well get our thoughts out now. Frozen as a whole.
I love it. I think it's a great film. I think it is I think it's an excellent film, to be fair. I think it's the film that announced to the world Disney's back and it knows what it's doing. I think that unfortunately it did end up being ridiculously overplayed to the point of pissing off far more people than it needed to. But then I suppose the fact that it ended up being so popular and a lot of people really do love it is just a testament of how good it actually is.
Alan Tudyk gets in some last minute zingers. Good stuff.
Of course.
Good stuff. Now, as I mentioned, the first time I watched Frozen, I hated it. I did, ironically, warm up to it in the end. At the end of the day, I still prefer Tangled. I think Frozen, it has some good songs, though it also has some stinkers, like, Fixer Upper. The visuals are fantastic, absolutely no complaints there. Just the, different variations of, blues and whatnot that they use for the ice and snow is amazing. It is just a spectacle in and of itself. But they contrast nicely with, the warmer colours towards the start of the film. But I believe if you want warmer colours as a whole, Tangled's your movie. And, I like most of the characters in Frozen. I'm not really a fan of, Kristoff, really.
I like Kristoff.
Him and Hans seem a bit pointless, I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, that is fair enough. They aren't really the focus of the film, but I think that is also part of the point.
Part of me feels like they included them just to try and make it seem like there weren't any kind of weird connotations between Elsa and Anna, if you get what I'm saying.
Perhaps. I mean, the thing is, Hans was introduced very late into development. But I think it's a little bit late to be going on about that. We have ice skating to do.
And this is where a reprise of Let It Go would have been perfect.
Yes, it would have been.
Oh, well. I had a little bit of a, for the first time in forever, sting there, so...
Also, I love the fact that these two characters are called Kai and Gerda, based on the characters from the original Snow Queen.
Nice, nice.
Oh, I just feel so happy at the end of this film.
Oh, good stuff, good stuff. What are your hopes for Frozen 2, just very quickly?
Another excellent film that's maybe got a little bit more thought put into the plot, perhaps, and pacing, but standout songs, I'll be happy.
Indeed. Okay, guys, I want to thank you for listening to our commentary of Disney's Frozen, and we'll see you tomorrow for another Disneython commentary. Goodbye for now.